Hey guys, welcome back to Tethan Props. Today I'm going to show you how I went about making probably my favorite lightsaber that I've made so far. So this is, pardon if I mispronounce it, Stellan Gios, whatever his name is. Stellan Gios is a new Jedi that we've never seen before. So he's in the upcoming book series called The High Republic. So this is a lightsaber that was made from some concept art. So some concept art was released a couple months ago in anticipation for the books, and I absolutely fell in love with the lightsaber design when I saw it. So the cool thing about this lightsaber is these cross guards up here, they actually fold out and then a lightsaber beam comes in between there. So I'm going to show you how I did that later on, but for now I'm just going to leave it like this. So the fun thing about this lightsaber is it has a full set of electronics in here. So if I turn it on, it's really loud. So I've got a nice startup sound there, and then we can turn it on. And we can hear that it's got static lightsaber sounds. If you move it, it makes it sound like you're moving the lightsaber around. You can do blaster bolts. I can change the color of it. So it's on blue right now. Green, teal, red, pink, yellow, whatever color you want. There's just kind of an infinite combination of red, green and blue LEDs, I think it is. But yeah, so really cool because I can change the color, but I stick with blue because that's what it is in the concept art. And the other cool thing about this is when you turn it off, you can actually change the sound fonts. Cal Kestis. So that's Cal Kestis from the Fallen Order. You have something I want. That's Moff Gideon from the Mandalorian. So if I turn this on, it's like a Darksaber sound. I don't particularly like that sound, but I'd like to stick with Darth Vader's. So you can hear that, sounds a little bit different than before. The blaster bolts have changed a little bit. So this is Darth Vader's sound font. There's also Luke Skywalker's, Kylo Ren. So a bunch of different sounds that you can have, but I think I like Darth Vader's the best. It's got the best lightsaber sound. And it also has, so when you've got a lightsaber blade in there, it's got flash on clash. So it lights up the whole lightsaber blade when you hit something. So enough about its features. Let's get to how I made this. So unfortunately, I didn't film the 3D modeling for this. It took a really long time, a lot of trial and error to actually get this 3D model. I first started off with the electronics. I bought those online. They came, I had to measure them up and decide where everything is going to fit. So on the lightsaber, in the pommel here, that's where the core of the electronics is, with the battery, the speaker, and then we have wires that run up through a joint in here to the buttons. The lightsaber also comes apart from here and here, and the light is installed in this top section. So there was a heck of a lot of trial and error to first get a base cylinder that fit all the electronics perfectly, all the screw holes lined up and everything like that. And then I just went along and built on the entire lightsaber on top of that. So many hours of 3D printing later, I finally had a prototype which was good enough that I could use. So I printed this on my PLA printer. So this is a filament printer. I didn't do this on the resin printer because it's a pretty basic shape. I didn't need a lot of intricate little details, so the filament printer would work perfectly for it. And also, this is somewhat combat ready, so you can tap lightly with it. You wouldn't go full combat with it, but because it's in PLA is super strong, you can actually fight a little bit with this, which adds an extra level of coolness to it. So once I have my prototype, it was ready to start on the next stage. I have finally finished the prototype for the New Republic saber that I'm working on. All the electronics fit in here quite nicely, and here's all the original pieces that I started with. So I went through a couple different styles to try and get the core right. So different screw sizes between the parts, I decided to go with larger screws instead of the smaller screws. And a lot of it was just trying to get it to fit the electronics perfectly. So the internal diameters had to be an exact shape, the lengths, everything like that. And I went through a couple different versions of these kind of wings that are here. So different connections, different shapes of the connections. So it took a fair few tries to get ones that I'm happy with, but I'm happy with these ones. So I can go now in the 3D model and add in all the details. But essentially these slot up and slide down so they lock in place. So it's time to go and finalize the 3D model for this, fix up all the tiny little things that I've found now that I've got it in hand. And then I'm going to print this in black at a higher infill. So this was printed in 10 for prototyping, so I didn't use a lot of filament, but then I'm going to bump it up to about 50 or so. So this is really strong so that you'll be able to duel with it. All right, let's get to it. The parts are now ready to start painting. What I've done so far is just give it a sand over, but the 3D prints were pretty good, so I didn't have to sand it much, but just give it a quick sand. And now we're ready to go paint this. So I'm going to start with a filler primer, so that'll fill in all the tiny little print lines and make it really smooth. So I might have to do a few sprays with the filler primer, sand it, spray it, sand it, spray it, sand it, spray it. It'll give it a really nice finish and it's worth the effort. So I'm going to go spray it now and get back to sanding. Alrighty, so here is the lightsaber, pretty much ready to start proper painting now. So I've done a lot of layers of the filler primer, sanded it, layers of filler primer, then sanding, just rinse and repeat, and it means that you end up getting just a super smooth lightsaber. So it's worth putting in that little bit of extra effort to go through and do a couple layers and actually go to the effort and do all the sanding, because the final product will look a lot better. So now it's time to start painting it properly. Looking at the colors, we've got a mix of white, gold, black. So I'm going to do black first, tape off the black, paint the white, and then go over with the gold. So I think that's probably the best order of operations. And the gold, I'm actually going to be using this Tamiya gold leaf. So that definitely has to be last. So we'll start off with black, then we'll go do some white, and we'll go from there. So I've got the gloss black down. I've taped off everywhere that I want to stay gloss black. And then I'm going to go over now, paint it with white, and then we'll see how it looks. I'm going to leave the pommel black because it doesn't need to get any white on it, so I'm just going to leave that for now. But the rest of the lightsaber, let's go paint it white. So the white paint is dried, it's looking really good. It is time to start adding the gold highlights over everything. So there's quite a lot of gold over this, so it'll take a fair while to paint, but let's get to it. I'm going to be using Tamiya gold leaf. This is a really good, fast drying, it's got a nice metallic look to it, really great gold paint. So I'm going to use that and just paint over wherever there's gold. Lots on the pommel here, these sections, and then a lot of detailing around the top here. So let's get to it. All right, now it's time to install the electronics. This is the exciting part. Let's do it. There we go, guys. That is how I went about making Stellan Gios, whatever his name is, his lightsaber from the High Republic, coming out soon. I think the book series is coming out start of 2021, so it shouldn't be too long. But now I'm going to show you how it all goes together. So main lightsaber, pretty straightforward. It slots in the end. Also have a spot for a blade retention screw to go in there. So when you want to lock the blade in, you just screw a little screw in there and it holds it in quite nicely. If we turn that on, you can see in there, I 3D modeled little holes to allow the light to pass out of the main blade into the two side blades. So while I install the side blades, I'm just going to turn it off. So these are a little tricky to get in with the design, but they do eventually go in. So you slot them in and then back out. So the crossguard here has a little nook for the end of the lightsaber blade to slot in. So you just slot it in and then back out a little bit. And that's what locks it in. So when we turn it on, you can see a little bit of blue light comes out of it. If I turn the lights off, you can actually see it a lot better. So there we go. That's with the lights off. You can see there's a little bit of light coming here. There's obviously a bit of reflection coming from the main lightsaber blade onto there, but the design works. It's not the best. The best way that I think I could have done this was to install two little LED lights on the sides to actually light these up. But I don't have two really small RGB LEDs, which means I couldn't do that. But I'm pretty happy with the design that I took. It does light them up and it looks really cool. So there's that lightsaber deflecting a blaster bolt. Kind of hurts my eyes. So there we have it, guys. That is Stellan Gios, whatever his name is, lightsaber from the High Republic with removable crossguard blades that fold up and fold down just like the concept art. I'm extremely happy with how this lightsaber has turned out. As I said, it's probably my favorite lightsaber design that I've seen, so really happy to be holding one. It feels really sturdy, really heavy. I printed this in a pretty high infill density with the PLA, so it was at about 50%, so it's 50% solid, really strong, really heavy, and it's got a really nice feel. All right, guys, there we have it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one. See you later, guys.